Hi everyone. Very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you're joining us from. I'm Rasha Khan, and I'm your host for today's webinar. And I'm joining all the way from Bangalore, India. Would love to know where are you joining us from. Let me do one thing. Let me just drop your welcome on the chat and also give my introduction quickly as well. Also, thank you so much for joining in early. And we do have few minutes, so let's utilize those minutes before we start the session. And let's drop our introductions on the chat here. I'm just dropping mine on the chat once again. And yeah, let's kick off this webinar together. And you can let us know by dropping us a hello on the chat and letting us know your name and where are you tuning in from. So I'm just also putting that on the chat here. And we are also streaming live on our YouTube channel. So you'll be seeing a lot of folks, joining there as well. So folks who have joined us on our YouTube channel, you folks can also drop us a hello on the YouTube live chat box. We'll be looking into your chat box as well and address any questions you might have about the program. Great. A lot of folks have joined us there as well. Great. Awesome. Let's wait for a few more minutes. I see the number of attendees is increasing as we are moving closer towards the timing of the session. And so we have a very interesting free career masterclass lined up for you, where we will be talking about how you can ace the Certified Scrum Master exam in your first attempt in 2024. And we also will be covering the Certified Scrum Master certification, certification training exam as well. We'll be giving you a program preview about that quickly and taking you through the learning path of the program, what the program offers you, how the program, gets you job ready, and yeah, other cool features of the program. So let me just quickly see the introductions on the chat. I see folks who have joined us on Zoom. I see Brian has joined us from Colorado, and someone has written Guten Tag. And I see hello from Gelato. And I see Chandramouli has joined us from Bangalore, India. Ramesh has joined us from Pakistan. Someone has joined us from Chicago. Would love to know your name. Bobby from Canada. Ajay says hi. Ajay would love to know where are you joining us from. And Sheena from Kuwait. Beth from Charlotte, NC. Sudhakar from Bangalore, India. And folks are giving introductions on the YouTube live chat box as well. So I see Siva has joined us from Malaysia. Alfred from Ghana, and I see someone Naima has joined us from Pakistan. So please keep the introductions coming in. Meanwhile, let me just quickly also take you through the introduction of the webinar. And this program and webinar is powered by Simplilearn, world's #1 online bootcamp. We have been in the digital skills space for more than a decade now, and we are very proud that we have transformed lives by empowering people via these digital skills. And the skill we'll be talking about today is the Certified Scrum Master skill and certification. And moving on to the next slide, we have a few quick ground rules for the session here. Again, like these are just to make sure that you have an amazing experience, not only during the webinar and even after the webinar as well. So let me just quickly take you through them. Meanwhile, I see a lot more amazing introductions coming on the chat here as well. So welcome once again, everyone. We are just starting off. And the first ground rule here is if you have a question, you can put the questions down in the Q&A box. And the session is being recorded. So in case you have missed anything, in case you want to go through those things to once again, so you don't worry, we will send you a follow-up email with the recording link to view post-webinar. You should receive that within 24 to 48 hours. And for attending this webinar, there is also a webinar certificate. So if you want the webinar certificate, this session is 60 minutes long. So you have to stay till the end. And in the end, I will be launching a webinar poll to capture your full name. So I need those details in order to personalize the certificate and send it to you. That also you'll be receiving within 24 to 48 hours over a separate mail. And yeah, quickly moving towards our introduction of our speaker, Brian Campbell. So Brian, very good morning to you. And it's always a pleasure hosting you. I think folks would love to know a little bit about you from you as well.
Sure. Thanks, Rasha. And yes, it's great to be here as well. So today's topic in particular is one that I've got a lot of passion about. So just a bit about me. I am a Simplilearn instructor that helps not just delivering a lot of the courses, particularly in areas like Agile and project management, but developing a lot of the course curriculum as well that you see online. And in any of the sessions you'll be taking. So I have a fair amount of experience in this space. I'm getting to the point you can start measuring it in decades, over 25 years of project program management experience. And it might not surprise you to hear that along the way, Agile was a really important part of delivering a lot of these projects and programs. So now I primarily work as an Agile transformation coach. I work for typically very large enterprise organizations that are interested in leveraging more Agile practices and behaviors or scaling them across their very large enterprises. But I still have a lot of connection back to the more conventional, traditional project management domain. I work a lot with the Project Management Institute, particularly with authoring parts of the project management body of knowledge, and really focus on how do we layer in more agile practices into more of the traditional project management delivery approaches. So that's a bit about me. I'm actually technically I'm based in Houston, Texas, but right now I'm coming to you from Colorado in a little mountain town called Telluride, very beautiful part of the Colorado state. So that's a bit about me.
Welcome once again, Brian. Thank you so much for introduction. And yes, we do have a very interesting session lined up for you. So let's start quickly with the agenda of the session before we start the session. So the first and the most important agenda here of the session is about you, getting to know a little bit about you, how we can help you out in your career better. And the second agenda of today's session is the Career Masterclass. We'll be talking about the topic how we can ace the Certified Scrum Master exam on your first attempt in 2024. And followed by that, we'll be talking about what the Certified Scrum Master, the CSM certification training offers from Simplilearn. And we'll be deep diving into the learning path and the tools covered and all the program features sharing with you. And based on the interest you share for us towards enrollment into the certification, we will quickly take you through the enrollment steps, and we'll be sharing the program fee, the upcoming cohorts you can choose from, and and basically last but not the least, the Q&A. So the Q&A is secured towards the end in order to make sure that whatever questions you have throughout the session, so we can address it towards the end so we don't miss any of it. But in meanwhile, if the time allows for expert Brian, so he will try to address it during the session as well. But if not, please don't worry. Just have a little patience. We'll address it towards the end. So please don't worry about that. Just keep the questions related to the topic of the session. That's all. And so yeah, let's move on to the next slide. And as I mentioned, let's get to know you a little better. So along with your amazing introductions, let's also do a quick poll here to understand how many years of experience do you currently have. So I'm just launching this poll. And again, like when we're talking about experience, we're talking about general work experience here. So we can share any kind of experience, working experience you have. From the four options which you see here, for folks on Zoom can select on the poll which is launched, and folks on YouTube who are watching us live can share it on the YouTube live chat box. So I'm just also going to quickly read out these options for you. So the first one here is less than 2 years. Second one, 2 to 5 years. The third one, 6 to 10 years. And the last one, more than 10 years. I see a few good questions have already started coming in. Please make sure that you move it to the Q&A so we do not miss it. So just a request there. And yeah, a few answers on the chat as well. And yeah, let's give it like 10 seconds more because I see most of you have responded. But let's give it 10 seconds more for the folks who are still responding. So last 10 seconds. Awesome. I think most of you have responded. So how many years of experience do you currently have? Last 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me just end the poll and share the results with you folks and our expert Brian here. Let's see what have you voted for. So 38% of you have more than 10 years of experience. Interesting. And 26% of you have less than 2 years, and 18% of you have 2 to 5 years. And another 18% of you have 6 to 10 years. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. That definitely gives our expert understanding, of what kind of audience with an experience has joined us. So now moving on to the topic here, how to ace the Certified Scrum Master exam on your first attempt in 2024. Over to you, Brian.
Sure, that's great. Yeah, really interesting to see the range of experience. So I think what's going to be a little interesting about today's session is those with a fair amount of experience, 10 years plus, are probably going to see much of what we're talking about and say, oh, this feels learned or really effective. I think folks maybe a little newer in or earlier in their career life cycle I'm probably going to also see a lot of these ideas and say, hey, that feels kind of like just common sense, good practices. And that's really the whole intent and spirit of the Scrum Master certification. Scrum itself is really a set of generally sensible practices, things that aren't going to feel too surprising, too foreign. These are things you're going to look at and say, yeah, that does make sense. And it puts a heavy emphasis on bringing people together and working. So when we think about how do we successfully get our Scrum Master certification, it's really important to be grounded in a few of these important ideas because they're going to come up quite a bit in the exam questions that are asked. So let's dig into this a little bit further, Rasha. So first, let's just get a little bit comfortable with what is Agile. We've all heard this term. Some of you probably are working and leveraging Agile practices in your organizations. And it's essentially a product development methodology. Really what that means is this is a way in which we can develop and grow and extend our product offerings to customers. And through that, we want to understand what do our customers need, what are the requirements, and build solutions that we can provide to them. And how do we do that? Well, we create these repeated cycles of planning, collaborating, and delivery. So the whole idea here is, again, to focus on understanding what our customer needs are, what value it is that they want, and then organizing high-performing teams so they can deliver that value to customers in short delivery cycles with opportunities to get feedback so we make adjustments. So all of this is based on something called the Agile Manifesto. And if you go to your browser and just type in agilemanifesto.org, it will bring you to a web page, the same web page that was developed back in 2001, so a pretty long time ago now. And it talks to the 4 values and 12 principles that Agile represents. So we're going to dive a bit deeper into Scrum. Scrum is one of these agile practices, and it's got lots of companions, other practices like extreme programming and the Crystal method, lots of others. And in fact, some of you might have heard other practices like the scaled agile framework or SAFe. So Scrum fits in nicely within SAFe and it complements the other practices. So it's one of these agile practices that organizations leverage so they can be more responsive to their customer needs and deliver value more quickly. So if we move to the next slide, let's talk a bit more about what is Scrum. A little bit more about that. So this is actually from the Scrum website itself, which is a good place to go when you want to get a definition of what Scrum is. So Scrum is simply a way to get work done as a team. And we're going to do that in small pieces at a time. And we're going to continuously experiment and use feedback loops along the way so we can learn and improve. Okay, so again, like I mentioned, much of this is probably going to sound pretty sensible, right? You're saying, yeah, let's work as a team. That's a good thing. Let's recognize who's on the team and what skills the team has and how we can all work together on a shared outcome. We're going to break our work down into small pieces, and there's some good reasons for that. We're going to come back to this in a little bit shortly, but the reason small pieces are a little easier to work with is, well, it's easier to get pieces of work that are small done so we can get them done more quickly. Much easier to estimate small pieces of work. So we want to constantly think about how we can take big complex tasks and break them down to smaller pieces. And this creates opportunity for us to get feedback. We can finish a piece of work, show it to someone who's asking for it, get their feedback, and if they need some improvements or adjustments, we can incorporate that. And we also want to find ways in which we can experiment, find ways in which we can innovate and improve so we can get better as we progress. So at its heart, that's really all Scrum is focused on. So as we think about taking that certification exam, it's really important to kind of ground ourselves in those ideas and concepts. Now, the other part about Scrum is it's about delivering value. And we're going to deliver that incrementally in short pieces. And we're going to hear this term called a sprint. And a sprint is simply a time box period that we are going to consistently apply to our delivery cadence. So what that means is we're going to pick a duration, maybe 2 weeks for a sprint. And what we're going to do is every 2 weeks, we're going to deliver value in that sprint. And we can use that as a way then to kind of estimate how long does it take us to get work done. We get more comfortable with our delivery cadence, our velocity. And that's a really important way for teams to also ask, how can we improve and get better? The other part about Scrum is you're going to notice it doesn't have a lot of like real details on exactly how to do things. That's because it's a framework and it's intended to provide just enough structure so people and the teams can learn and think about how they want to work together, and giving some guidance on effective practices. But you have lots of opportunity to make adjustments, to find ways to kind of improve how you want to work together, because every team's going to be a little unique. Every area they work in is going to be a bit different. So Scrum gives you lots of flexibility to kind of make those adjustments, but there are some really core and important concepts that we want to make sure we emphasize. So with that, I'm probably going to ask for presenter permissions now, Rasha. And let's see if I
Sorry,
can.
I have stopped sharing. Right, you can go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah, no worries, no worries. And let's let me bring up my screen here and share that. Okay, so hopefully you can all see my screen. Now, it probably looks a little blank right now. So I'm going to spend a bit of time on what I describe as the Scrum Golden Rules. And these are important ideas that you are going to find on your Scrum certification. I think some of you have probably got some experience and exposure to Scrum. And if so, this should hopefully be a good refresher. If this is a little bit new to you, then great. You can use this as a starting point to think both about how you could use this certification and get ready for it. So one of the first things Scrum needs to think about, it's all about delivering value, right? How do we give value to our customers? So this always starts with some work items. We've got some work that needs to get done. And often this work is sort of in a collection. We've got a whole bunch of work items that need to get completed. And these things together represent what our customers expect or want for their needs. So one of the important concepts that Scrum is going to introduce is this idea of a product backlog. So these items here, let me just grab a text box here. This is our product backlog. So all the work here is centered around this idea of a product backlog. So that's an important concept that you're going to get some exposure to when you start taking the certification. And the whole idea is we take our work, we prioritize it by its value. In other words, we stack rank everything, everything's in order, with the most important thing at the top. So that's a really important concept here. So that's probably feels a little bit different than maybe what you've seen in the past, where you think of a project and you've got a Gantt chart and activities that you need to perform. What Scrum says is, the problem with that is it's really hard to manage that. So we want to make sure we just keep a simple list of the things that need to get done, with the most important things, the highest value items, at the top. So we'll think of our backlog this way. And this is an important concept. This is going to come up quite a bit in the certification exam. This idea of where is work coming from? It comes from your backlog, your product backlog. All the work in the backlog supports the goals that we want to provide and the value that our customers want to receive from our product. And the most important things are at the top of the list. And the things that are less important, or maybe that we haven't had a chance to give a little thought to yet, are at the bottom of the list. So pretty simple. Most of us, are kind of familiar with our little tasks lists, our to-dos. Same general idea. We're just going to put the most important things at the top, and we're going to work our way down. Now, Scrum is going to introduce a few roles here. So when we think of our product backlog, we're going to need someone who looks after it. So who is that person? Well, that is a role called a product owner. So product owner not surprisingly, is going to be responsible for managing the product backlog. So that's their job. So what do they do with that? Well, they make sure that the most important things are at the top of the list, that they're connecting with our customers and saying, hey, does this look right to you? And they should hopefully be saying, yeah, looks great. These are the things that we want. Please make sure we get them. So the product owner is really spending time thinking about what's in the backlog. So things that they'd want to think about is, hey, what is this work item? Why is it important? How do we know it's been successfully completed? So this is what the product owner does. And then we have another important part of this. We've got to get people who are going to do the work, right? We have a team. So the team is the ones that are going to really have to deliver the work. So we want to make sure in Scrum that the team is a collection of people that have, good set of skills. It's a small team. One of the things you're going to hear in your certification is that generally speaking, Scrum is going to recommend that a team is no more than 6 plus or minus 3 people. Okay, so teams are generally speaking pretty small. So we have 6 plus or minus 3. Okay, so we want to keep that team generally small. They're going to be cross-functional. Okay, we're not going to worry too much about specific roles. Some of the roles that you might have in your organization, like a business analyst or a software developer level 2, 3, or 4, or a database administrator. In Scrum, this is just the team. And the team are the people that are going to do the work. So we want to make sure the team understands the work. Who tells them what the work is? Well, it's the product owner. Product owner explains what the work is. The team listens, they ask questions, and once the team feels comfortable, they pull the work. They're going to pull the work into that time-boxed delivery period. And we call that a sprint in Scrum. So the sprint is a really important concept. That's just a time box period in which we're going to get something completed. So let's call this our sprint. Now, a sprint can be different durations. So it doesn't really say, Scrum doesn't say anything about exactly how long your sprint should be. But one of the things it does say is, hey, we recognize that things that take a long time to get done are just harder for us to kind of estimate and get feedback on. So we want to make sure our sprints are no more than 4 weeks. They can be shorter, but we don't want them longer than 4 weeks, because then they get a little bit longer than that. It gets much harder for us to estimate the work that we're going to get completed. Things could change as a result, because that's a long time to wait for a response. So the sprint is generally going to be something between 1 to 4 weeks in duration. So that's an important concept. You're definitely going to hear that a little bit on the exam. Okay, and it's not going to tell you again exactly how long it has to be. It's simply going to say, hey, in general, these are 4 to weeks in duration. So the team is going to pull this work here, okay, just like we see. And that's an important concept too. We want the team to pull the work. We don't want the work to be kind of decided and told, you've got this much time to get done. So the team is going to pull the work into their sprint. The sprint is going to have a definitive start and finish point, where we know it's going to begin maybe on a Monday and it's going to finish, if we're going to do a 2-week sprint, maybe in the following 2 Fridays from now. So each sprint's going to be exactly the same, and we're going to do it at the same time every time. It's going to start on a Monday and it's going to finish on a Friday, 2 Fridays from now. And this is kind of an important part of the whole delivery framework. And this will 100% be on the exams. This is why we want to be comfortable with it. And once we've got that sort of established, now the team just needs to think about, how are we going to deliver our work? So to do that, Scrum has a few ceremonies. And the ceremonies are just events that are going to occur that are going to help us figure out what we can get done in a sprint. So the team is going to start off the beginning of a sprint with a planning event. And just like the idea of being, the term says, when we think about planning, planning is just, what are we going to get done? And we want the team to ask, what can we commit to getting completed in this sprint? And the team's going to give some thought to that. Maybe I'll connect this here. So these work items go into our planning. The team commits to the work. And then once they're comfortable with what the work is, then they say, okay, we're going to get this kid done in this next 2-week period, and that's it. We're ready to go. Now, along the way, we want to check in, right? We want to ask, hey, how are we doing? So every day throughout the sprint, we're going to have what's called a daily stand-up. And a daily stand-up is just a lightweight check-in where we ask 3 general questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you planning to do today? And then, do you have any blockers or issues? So it's intended to be very short, 15 minutes duration. That makes it easy for people to kind of include in their calendar, and they don't feel overwhelmed with too many meetings. And it's just an opportunity to really understand, is there anything blocking us from getting work done? Then we're finished, we have what's called a review. And a review is an opportunity to show the work that's been completed back to our product owner and our customers and say, hey, this is what we got done. What do you think? And then that's an opportunity for them to give us some feedback. They might say, hey, looks good. Let's release this. Other times they might say, oh, hold on a little bit. There's some changes we need. We just want to create some opportunity for that feedback to occur. And finally, when that's finished, we want to make sure the team has an opportunity to think about how they can improve. And this is another ceremony called a retrospective. A retrospective is just a way in which the team and only the team comes together and asks, how can we improve the way we work so we can be more effective? What are some things we can do to kind of improve the way we work? Maybe we can innovate or improve some processes or automate some activities that we have. So that's an opportunity again to improve. And from that, any ideas that we come up with, we want to extend those into our next sprint. Now, along the way, we have another role, and this role is what's called our Scrum Master, and this is where you're going to get your certification. So the Scrum Master is sort of responsible for making sure all of this is happening, that the product owners focus on the responsibilities that they have, that these events, these ceremonies like planning, daily stand-ups, reviews, and retros are happening, and that when they do happen, they are being effectively managed. Also, if there's anything that blocks the team from getting the work done, the Scrum Masters should be really concerned about that and find a way in which we can get that issue resolved. So what makes this sort of model pretty powerful is that what I just built out for you here in about 10, 15 minutes here is all of Scrum. Scrum's very lightweight. Now, if I was teaching the project management certification to you, some of you might have your PMP certification, you might remember there's a 1,000-page book that goes along with this, whereas in Scrum, we just have a 14-page reference. So it's much lighter, much easier to embrace. And this is a big reason why so many organizations are really interested in leveraging Agile and Scrum in particular. It's very lightweight, it's very easy to communicate, and generally speaking, most people look at it and say, yeah, that kind of makes sense. These are good practices. In fact, I do them a lot in other settings, so why wouldn't I continue them here? So I mentioned there's 3 golden rules. Let me just quickly go through them, or several golden rules. And by the way, this isn't completely comprehensive. There's still more details. Can't teach everything in just this short period of time. But in Scrum, we have 3 roles, right? The product owner, the Scrum Master, and the team. We have 4 ceremonies, and that's the planning, the daily stand-up, the review, and retro. We have 1 backlog, and that's where all the work is retained, that prioritized list of work activities. And together, these represent sort of how we're going to deliver value using our Scrum practices. So I'll put this up here. How's that? So this is a very quick overview of sort of some important concepts. Gives you a little grounding on what Scrum is and why it's being used so extensively. These are all terms and references you're going to get familiar with. So an opportunity for you to ace that exam. And then why don't we just shift gears now a little bit here, Rasha, and look at some techniques that will help you successfully pass the exam.
Sure. Let me share back the screen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have taught many people these these ideas and concepts and help them prepare for the CSM. So a few things, we're actually going to rely a little bit on more traditional project management practices here. The first is let's build out a study schedule. So, a lot of you are probably doing this in addition to your work schedule, maybe with your personal schedule. If you got, an active personal life, maybe you got kids and other things that you need to attend to. So just be realistic, build out a schedule where you can identify when you can study, when you want to take the exam. I often find that's effective to just say, hey, I want to pass this exam by this date, October 1st, and then work backwards on how you build out a study schedule. Of course, making sure reviewing the course materials. Mentioned to you already that the Scrum Guide is sort of the source for the exam. Now remember, it's a framework, so it's not going to get super detailed in questions. So you're going to have to really understand sort of the foundation of what Scrum is so you can apply that knowledge to the questions that are going to be asked. There will be a few more specific questions that are going to get asked. You might see things like what's the optimal team size, 6 plus or minus 3, those kind of examples. And then the other thing we want to do is make sure you finding some ways in which you can engage in training. Training is so important. Even if you've been working for a while, I know a lot of you have a fair amount of experience. Some of this is either going to be a little bit new to you or it might be different than what you're doing in your organization. Remember, you are being tested to a certification here. So your organization might be doing Agile, but they might be doing it in a different way. So it's important for you to take some training, make sure you really understand what the certification requirements are. For a lot of us, it's probably been a little bit of time, particularly if you've got more than 10 years of experience since you've taken an exam. So spending some time just doing some mock tests is going to be really important here. And then finally, and this is really the whole purpose of sort of the session today, is just make sure you're comfortable with these key concepts. When we think of Scrum, it's really focused on people working together, collaborating, interacting. It's about creating value in short time-boxed periods so we can get feedback from our customers, so we can make adjustments based on their feedback or changes in priorities. So a few of those concepts are really going to be important that you get comfortable with because they're definitely going to come up in the exam. And I think this was another slide on this, Rasha, maybe not.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that was the last one.
That was it. Okay, so there we go. So over to you now.
Thank you so much, Brian, for taking us through here on how they can actually ace the CSM exam, just giving a demo of it. And while you were speaking, we actually have gotten some good questions as well in the Q&A box, which we'll be answering, shortly. But before that, now that we know that, you have concerns as well incoming in Q&A, we would also love to know what is stopping you from becoming a certified Scrum Master through this poll, which I'm launching. This one is a multiple choice poll. You can select multiple options because there can be multiple challenges or concerns, right? You might be facing. So you can select multiple options if you feel like, okay, these are your concerns. Let me just read it out for you. So first one here is, I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. And the second one, I don't have the practical exposure I need to become job ready. And the third one, I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. And the fourth one, my work schedule won't allow me enough time to learn. I see most of you have already started responding, but let's give it 10-15 seconds more for other folks to respond. And folks who are watching us live on our YouTube channel, you can also let us know by responding on the YouTube live chat box. You can just respond by the option numbers. And again, like folks, if these are not your concerns, we have the Q&A box open for you as mentioned earlier. So you can go and put it down there as other folks are already have started doing some good questions there. Awesome. I think most of you have responded. So last 5 seconds, what's stopping you from becoming a certified Scrum Master? Last 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll and share the results with you folks and our expert Brian here and see what's your concern here. I see 39% of the votes are for I can't find a program with the fully comprehensive curriculum. And another 39 is for my work schedule won't allow me enough learning. That makes sense. A lot of you are working for basically professionals and have a lot of experience. And 42% of you have also given votes for I don't have the practical exposure I need to become job ready. And 18% of you have given votes for I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. We'll keep those concerns in mind as we move forward towards the program introduction of the Certified Scrum Master Certification Training, which is globally registered LIREA of Scrum Alliance. And introducing you to the program features here. So it has a 16 hours of live instructor-led sessions, guaranteed to run live, fun, and interactive sessions. You get to interact with your instructor and your peers as well. We have complimentary access to 15 value addition courses worth $500. And here, I think we had a few doubts about that, right? Like, what is the fee of this certification? So I'll touch upon that. And you can earn up to 20 PDUs and 16 SEUs for continual learning support. There's immersive learning with games, role plays, simulations, and case studies. We'll be talking more about that in the upcoming slides. And you basically get sessions delivered by globally acclaimed and experienced certified Scrum trainers, CSTs. And you get a Scrum Alliance membership for 2 years as well. And moving on towards the demand for Scrum Masters here. So we have seen 25% expected job growth rate here, and 65% of the organization workers work for Scrum, and top 6 emerging jobs in product development. Again, like this is a source from World Economic Forum, and top 10 most promising jobs. Again, like a source from LinkedIn, and the need for Scrum Masters expanding well beyond the software sector. So, Brian, as we can see, there are so many sectors where there are demands for Scrum Masters. What do you think when it at the current scenario? What is the demand for Scrum Masters in your own opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, and the good news is there is very high demand for Scrum Masters and people with these Agile skills. So organizations, particularly as they make this shift to more digital delivery. So think of, you're an Amazon, you're a Google, you're a Microsoft, an Apple. All these companies are leveraging software to deliver their products, deliver their services. In fact, in many instances, their products and services are digital. So Agile is the best way to deliver digital products. And Scrum is easily the most prevalent of all the different Agile practices. So Scrum Masters are in very high demand. What makes this role particularly interesting from my vantage point is as a Scrum Master, you can be very close to the team. So you're going to get a chance to be close to the action, see the work that's being delivered, be very engaged and part of that delivery process. But in addition, that role of a Scrum Master is also a coach. So just like the coach on a sports team, you're giving guidance, support, expertise, ideas to the team that they can leverage. And over time, you'll find that that role can expand across the organization. So it doesn't take long oftentimes for Scrum Masters to kind of continue to progress in their career and offer more of their skills to different teams. And before long, you're really acting as sort of a consultant to the organization on effective ways of working to help the whole company improve. So it's got some very exciting career paths that you'll grow into as you get introduced to this. So I think this is not only in high demand, but it's got a very exciting career trajectory you can follow.
Thank you so much for sharing your comment on that. Now moving on to the delivery mode of the program, I think we saw one of the concerns here, right? That you are not interested in learning from pre-recorded videos only. So the delivery mode here is a globally renowned and seasoned certified Scrum trainers who actually deliver these sessions live in a virtual class format where you get to interact with your instructor and your peers as well globally. And yeah, the prerequisites of the program. So here there are no prerequisites to attend this course. Prior work experience in Agile is beneficial and but not mandatory. So if you have it, that's good. But if you don't have it, that's totally okay as well. Now, again, like Brian, this question comes right. Like, why should they take this course, and who are the people who will be the most, beneficial from taking this CSM course?
Yeah, that's again a great question. So even if you're not necessarily interested in pursuing a Scrum Master type of role, as we just saw in the mural session that I conducted there, we've got roles like the product owner, the product manager, the person responsible for managing the product. This certification is going to be incredibly valuable to help them understand an effective way to kind of manage work through that agile delivery process. Project managers. So project managers aren't going away. We're still going to need project managers. And project managers are going to use this Scrum certification as a really valuable tool in their toolkit to help them find ways to kind of enable the teams that are doing the work, finding lightweight mechanisms that work can be completed. Of course, if you're on a team, even if you're not necessarily the Scrum Master or maybe a product manager, you're a team member. And team members also need to understand how work is going to be organized and delivered. So that's very valuable. And then beyond that, you could be a leader in the organization that is trying to shift to Agile. Well, if you don't have a foundation in what Agile means, it's going to be really hard for you to support and enable the teams as to make this shift. If you're in an organization, and I come from many organizations that are a little bit more project-centric, and they're making that pivot to being product-centric, Scrum is an Agile, really effective ways to kind of make that transition. So taking the Scrum certification is going to get you very comfortable with this. Business analysts, if you're in a role right now where you're gathering requirements and you're using maybe some pretty detailed use case templates and practices like that, this is going to introduce you to some lighter weight techniques that you probably find really impactful and helpful. In fact, help you deliver the solutions that your customers are interested in. So all of these are different areas within the organization that could leverage and get a lot of benefit from this. I'd also describe this too as I think the Scrum certification is one of the more accessible certifications. There's some pretty demanding certifications out there. I teach the project manager certification. It's certainly a little bit more in depth. I find the Scrum certification, people that take this not only get the certification, you can put on your resume and on LinkedIn, but generally they walk away saying, hey, that was so refreshing. I learned so much. I'm applying it right away. So people get a lot from this particular certification.
Thank you so much for addressing that. That definitely helps. I think a lot of people, they might have this question. Again, like moving on to the next slide, talking about the course curriculum.
Right. So you probably got a little flavor of this when we were, doing the overview here. So the first thing we want to do is just do an introduction to what is Agile. Let's get grounded with sort of the ideas, the concepts behind it. The Agile Manifesto, which is sort of, think of this as the keystone that the whole Agile framework is based on. So we want to get comfortable with those 4 values, those 12 principles. And then we're going to look directly at Scrum. Scrum is one of the core practices within the Agile family. So we're going to give an overview, very similar to what I just showed you. And we'll also introduce some of the pillars of Scrum. What are some of the pillars that Scrum relies on? Concepts like transparency, honesty, clarity, and the values that come with that. And once we've got a fair amount of comfort with those concepts, we'll start introducing ideas like the product backlog that we just saw. This is where our work is stored. We want to make sure that's visible, that it's prioritized, that work is ready to be pulled by the team. And then we'll look at some of the Scrum artifacts. This includes the ceremonies that we're going to be performing, those 4 ceremonies I mentioned. And once you get through all this, you're going to be very well grounded in what Scrum represents and why it's important and how you can work with teams to enable their Scrum practices.
Thank you so much, Brian, for taking us through the course curriculum and moving on to the key learning outcomes of the program. So at the end of Simplilearn CSM training, you will be able to discuss Scrum and Agile methodologies, describe the importance of Agile and explain the Scrum lifecycle, and understand Scrum terminologies and their applications. You can discuss in detail terms such as daily Scrum, user stories, sprint planning, sprint review, and you can understand various roles involved in Scrum and describe distributed Scrums and its best practices. So, and we have trainings by top certified Scrum, trainers here. And just to give you an overview of, a few of them, Jaya Srivastav here, who has 15 plus years of experience, is a Scrum Alliance CST. Danny here, who has 25 plus years of experience, is also an engineering release manager and senior developer. He's worked in BMC and Oblique Core. Vijay Bandaru here has 25 plus years of experience. He is a senior product manager. He has worked in Valley Labs and Pega. And Bonsi El Sangi here has 18 plus years of experience. He's a Scrum Alliance CST and an Agile coach as well. She's worked in Cisco, Microsoft, Apple, Capgemini. Again, like there are many more CSTs, who actually, basically take up these program as experts and make sure to deliver, as per standards here. And yeah, how can we miss talking about the success stories, right, of folks who have taken up this program? Again, like these are just few of them among hundreds of them. I'll share the program page link with you, the scan code for it, so you can check out these success stories more. There are many more there in the page as well to understand, what are the progress they have made in their career. But let me just share a few of them to start with. So Sugandha Rajan PN here shares that he chose Simplilearn for its comprehensive curriculum and blended learning. And it was a great learning experience, combined self-paced learning and with classroom training. And the online material helped him a lot, and he became a senior product manager at Bosch Global Software Technologies with a 30% salary hike. And Sudha Manohar Gadwala shares here that the certifications helped him in two ways. They gave him better opportunities internally and also got him the best offers from other companies. He was promoted to lead business analyst, and now he works with Triance as a manager business analyst. Karthik Jaipal here shares that his learning experience was terrific, and he was able to clear the exam on the first attempt. After the certification, he got a job as an assistant manager Q&A at Solve, division of Standard Chartered, with a 35% salary hike. Deepak Srinivas here shares that he enrolled for the CSM course from Simplilearn, and the process of enrollment was extremely easy, and the course details were explained clearly. The same was shared in the mail immediately, and the learning experience was great overall. Satisfied with the experience at Simplilearn. Again, like these are just few of the stories I'm sharing with you. I'll share the program page details in the syllabus as well in the upcoming slide. You can check out later. But yeah, like there are these success stories, and there are hundreds more of success stories from the Certified Scrum Master exam certification. So yeah, so with this, we would like to conclude, and we would like to know: are you interested in enrolling into the Certified Scrum Master certification training with Simplilearn? So I'm just launching this poll to capture your interest. So you can reply by saying yes here by choosing the option yes. And yeah, like let's give it like 10-15 seconds for this poll to understand your interest. After this, we will quickly touch on the enrollment steps of the program, the upcoming cohorts we have, the classes you can choose from, and what are the kind of classes, weekend classes, weekday classes, what are the classes there, keeping in mind you might be a working professional, might have other commitments as well. And we do have finance partners as well. So in case you're looking for paying in installments, we do have those options as well regionally. I'll share this basically scan code of the page here, so which you can save it for later, and you also should receive the details of the program over your mail as well, so you can check it out there as well. For now, a lot of folks are saying yes on the YouTube live chat as well. For you folks, what you can do is you can go to the description of this YouTube live, and you will see the link towards the program there. And it is the same basically link towards the program where you can go and share your few basic details to share enrollment interest. So quickly click on the description, and you should be able to find the details about the program there. Yeah. Awesome. I see most of you have responded. But let's skip 10-15 seconds more. We do have like some time, to quickly touch upon the Q&A as well. So let's utilize that time quickly. So again, like this is a really good time for a lot of you who are already sharing interest towards enrollment. So please do let us know if you have any questions. We will definitely help you out with that. So this is a really good time to go and put on your questions as well. Awesome. Last 10 seconds for the poll. So are you interested in enrolling to the Certified Scrum Master training with Simplilearn? And you can respond as yes to the poll, which is launched right now. Also, I wanted to mention that our expert Brian has answered a lot of these questions, during the session whenever he got the time. So please do go and check out and let us know if you have any follow-up questions as well. So please do that. Please do check out the questions which are already answered. Awesome. I think I'll be closing the poll now. I see most of you responded. So last 5 seconds for the enrollment poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. And thank you so much. Thank you, folks, for sharing your interest with us. I see few of the folks who have said no. For you, I have free courses from SkillUp. In case you're still exploring, which program to take up, we do have these monthly webinars planned up for you. I'll share those links as well. You can explore other categories of webinars as well, and see in the same category as well. We have other certifications as well to make up your mind in which course you want to basically take up and when again. So yeah, 3 simple easy steps for enrollment here. So the step one here is you'll have to submit an application to us at apply at askus@simpleton.net. And the step two here is your application will go for review based on the prerequisites I've shared. Again, like there are no prerequisites, but still, like we'll have to do a quick basic check review before we send you the admissions offer from learning consultants from Simplilearn. So again, like just giving you an overview what's going to happen next through these enrollment steps, and then talking about the program fee and the schedule. So the upcoming weekend classes are on 29th July to 30th July. But again, like there are multiple ongoing batches going on. Let me do one thing. Let me just go to the Citiland website and I'll just quickly show it to you as well. So if I just type CSM and I can see the program here. And I'll just quickly show you the even finance partners as well. There is a currently off going on as well. So you will see, different discounts as well. So I'm showing you that particular fee, but the discount also keeps changing from time to time. So yeah, this is where you can download the syllabus. I'll share this link in the upcoming slide. And yeah, you can view the schedules here. And let me just click on it. The upcoming batches here can be viewed. Yeah, so we can see the schedules here. These are the upcoming batches. The most recent one is starting tomorrow. And again, like the next one is 27th July. But yeah, so there are many batches you can join in. And this is like after the batches which I mentioned, the 29th July to 30th July one. And the program fee here, including the discount, which is today, is $295 including GST for US candidates. And for Indian candidates, the fee here after the discount currently is 15,999 INR rupees, including GST. Again, like the discount also keeps changing. You can check it out for your own region as well once I share the scan code, because I'm aware that you have joined from different countries. Might be a little different, from this, might can vary a little bit. And even after this webinar, if you need any assistance, we will help you out. We can reach out to us at askus@simpleton.net. I'll share that email ID shortly. Yeah, moving on to the Q&A, we do have some time. Maybe, Brian, I think you have managed to answer a lot of them already. So maybe let's summarize these questions and see like if folks have any other questions as well in these next few minutes.
Yes, so I have been busily answering away while you've been sharing details of the course and how to enroll. A couple of themes, generally speaking, I think, the lots of people are very engaged, are very interested in learning more about this. Some questions are, hey, what's the difference between the Scrum Master and a project manager? Well, the Scrum Master certification, I think is frankly, as I mentioned before, a much more accessible certification. It's a little there's no prerequisites required. I think a lot of the concepts and ideas you can apply in a team setting or as a Scrum Master. So I think you get lots of opportunity to take these ideas and apply them. The Project Manager certification, much more in-depth, and there are much higher prerequisites required to get your PMP. The exam itself is quite comprehensive. It's a 4-hour exam, so a little bit more that goes into the PMP. And in terms of the settings, if you work in an organization or if you have a lot of interest in, large, complex projects, the PMP is going to be a really good fit for that. Many large organizations do need certified project managers to manage those. But most of the time these days in particular, you're going to find Scrum teams being the most prevalent in organizations. These small teams centered around products, working collaboratively. And the Scrum certification is an excellent fit for those work environments. And I think for a lot of people, frankly, a little bit more of a fulfilling area to be spending time on. Let's see, outside of that, there were a few questions about, is this a good fit for me? And do I need experience to be a Scrum Master? Well, I mean, I think that's up to the organization that's making the decision on the hiring decision, how much experience they're looking for. Generally speaking, some experience is going to be valuable. Certainly working on a team is going to be important. Having the certification is going to kind of booster you up in terms of getting those Scrum Master roles. So I think this is a great sort of gateway into those opportunities that you can pursue once you get that certification. Other than that, like if you posted a question, I think I answered most of them. I see a few new ones are coming in. So I'll take a quick look at those and try and respond. And I'll also encourage others, if you haven't had a chance to look at the questions that were asked, look at the answers, you might find some helpful information there.
Yes, please do look over the Q&A, folks, and let us know if you have any questions as well. I will be moving on towards the end now. And I would like to quickly thank our expert speaker, Brian Campbell, here for taking us through such an interesting career session, right, for the folks here. And we also got like so many good, interesting questions, which are very helpful for other folks as well. With this, would like to conclude the session. And yeah, like Brian, would you like to say something to the folks who have actually shared interest towards enrollment, and we might actually see them in our coming cohorts?
Yeah, how exciting would that be? So, first off, I really appreciate everyone being so engaged. These are great questions. Obviously, people really, paying attention. That's always important. If this is a direction you're interested in taking, and I know we live in a world that is constantly changing and adjusting, I think this is one of the best certifications to really future-proof your career. This really teaches everything you need to know to be flexible, adaptable, to be resilient, because that's what product teams are dealing with right now. The market is changing quickly. We work in a very fluid business environment. Agile practices and Scrum in particular are a great set of tools to respond to change. So I think this is, of all the different certifications, you probably saw I have a large number myself. I think this is one of the best ones to invest in.
Agree with that. Thank you so much, Brian, once again, for joining us and taking us through the session. And for folks who want to go in down with the syllabus, I've already shared with you the Certified Scrum Master program page where you can go and download the syllabus. So you can scan this code as well. You can take a screenshot of it and refer to it later as well. Or you can just go and search by Certified Scrum Master at Simplilearn. And yeah, you can also let us know how was the session for you. You can let us know here, or also you can share it on our post-webinar feedback. But yeah, before we move on towards the webinar certificate poll, now that we are moving closer towards the end of the session time, we would also love to know how was the session for you. So I'm just launching a poll where you can let us know how satisfied are you with the content of the session, and you can reach us out of 5, 5 being the highest, excellent if you had a good experience. So let me just do that quickly. Just a second, I'm just facing an issue. Are you folks able to see the rating poll? Okay, I think there is an issue here. No worries. You can let us know by responding on the chat as well, or you can also let us know by there will be a post-webinar survey feedback as well. Once they end this session, it will immediately pop up for folks who have joined us on Zoom, and there you can mention what can we do to make these webinars better. So there'll be just one question. You can let us know the topics you want us to cover. You can let us know the reading or any feedback you have for us as well there. So there is an option there as well. I'm facing some technical issues here. I'm just sorry for that. But yeah, I think I'll move towards the webinar certificate poll now. And I see a few responses on the chat as well. So thank you so much. I see the webinar was indeed insightful. 5 stars from me. A lot of 5 stars there. Thank you. We really appreciate your comments there. Thank you so much. let me see. Hopefully this certificate will works. I don't know, like there is some technical issue at Zoom and okay. Okay, they actually we are facing some issue. Let me do one thing. Let me. Okay, a lot of stars there on the chat. Thank you so much. That's pretty motivating for us. Okay, there is some technical issue we're facing. Okay, let's do one thing. Just allow me a minute. I'll just quickly share a Google form here to enter your full name. And Brian, like if you want, you can also take a leave. We'll just take 1 or 2 minutes, just facing some technical issue here. So I'll just
Okay.
resolve it quickly. So thank you
Okay.
so much, Brian. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great session. Thank you, everyone. Good luck. Hope you all have opportunity to kind of explore this a little further and have a great remainder of the day or evening. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. I'm just sharing a Google basically link with you folks here on the chat. So sorry, there is some technical issue which I'm facing on the Zoom end, which usually doesn't happen. I'm just sharing that Google form here on the chat. Just a second. Yes, I'm sharing back my screen and thank you for patiently waiting. I'm just sharing that link on the chat here. I think this should work. I'm also just going quickly doing a test here in front of you only. So I'm just submitting my name. So I can just record it by my email ID, selected option. Yeah, it's submitting. Yeah, it's working. I think it should work for you as well. So sorry for the technical issue. It has really never happened. I'll definitely check this at the Zoom's technical India. So sorry for that. Let's give it, we do have few minutes, so I'll just give it 2-3 minutes for you to it just needs your full name there. So you can just quickly go and put down your full name there and you can leave the session as well. Let me do one thing. Let me just move towards the end. If you want to scan the code of the basically program, you can just use this, or you can expect a email from us as well, about the program. You can check out details later as well. You can check out the recording as well. Also, people are sharing, these certificates they get, over LinkedIn. They're using the hashtag SimplyGrow. So I'm just sharing the link here on the chat, and you can follow the hashtag. There are hundreds of people who are already following and posting about it, their insights about the sessions. They're sharing their certificates, showcasing their professional development across network. And you can tag our Simplilearn handle and also our expert Brian. So yeah, you can do that. So yeah. Just quickly giving few seconds for the Google form here, sharing it once again. Folks, if you're writing it on the chat, we actually might not able to capture it. Lean Six Sigma one, right? You should receive that within next 24 hours. So, it usually takes like 24 to 48 hours post webinar. So yeah, I think it happened yesterday only. So, yeah. The form is again, I've shared the form once again. Thank you so much. I see a comment here on the chat. Nice session. Appreciate your comment. I'm just sharing it once again, the Google form. More 2 minutes for the folks here who are sharing responses. And once again, would like to apologize on the behalf technical issues we are facing here. Thank you so much. I hope you have taken a note of the email ID as well, which I've shared earlier. But as I'm scrolling the chat up, I see a lot of 5-star comments there. Thank you so much, folks. We really appreciate your comments there. And we can share a feedback after the webinar, as I mentioned earlier, and folks who are still exploring. So we do a lot of these webinars, throughout the month. and we cover in the same category and many different categories as well. We come up with these interesting topics as well. So if you feel like okay, you have a suggestion as well, you can share it on our post-webinar survey, and we closely will look into it. And these are the link. This is the link of the live masterclasses, which you can go and attend throughout the month. So please do check out, and we keep updating it weekly, so you'll see a lot of new ones as well. Thank you so much, folks. Thank you for the comment here on the chat. I really appreciate your responses. I see most of you have filled the Google form, because I see a lot of responses have already been captured. And thank you so much. In case you feel like okay, you've missed out on something, I'm just sharing the email ID on the chat here. Feel free to drop us a mail here in case there is an issue at webinars@simplylearn.net. So thank you so much. Thank you so much once again. I will be closing the session now. You can save the Google form link in case you want to, you're not able to fill it immediately as well. You can fill it within an hour or so. So thank you so much once again. Thank you for being an amazing audience. Thank you. Have a good night, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much. Thank you.